you have all those stories in the, of, I forget the names of the gods over in India, but the war continued over there because for some reason, I know what it was. Dumuzi was killed, and Marduk was responsible for Dumuzi's death. And so Inanna never forgave Marduk, and she kept trying to find Dumuzi. So every time she had a lover and it wasn't Dumuzi, they ended up waking up dead, so to speak. She'd have a lover. So you're talking about their sexuality. Anyway, it's a big story. I won't go into that right now, but she's a primary character, and she may be what's behind the Statue of Liberty, but it could be her brother Utu. She had a twin brother, Utu Shamash. So these are very important. But I was looking through the images of Ishtar, and it does have the crown of the Statue of Liberty. She has some depictions of that radiant crown, that the Statue
cap.
of Liberty wears.
Are you familiar with
cap?
The red cap?
I had an amazing backpack that I could fly with.
Say that again?
I said I had an amazing backpack that I could fly with. When I went to visit Erishkigal, who had was living in South Africa, she had the domain of down under, the underworld, which was Africa. And that's how I traveled in those times. It was like
you're talking about the historical. Yeah, there's a woman who's somehow related to the Queen. She says she's a modern incarnation of Erishkigal. I've had her on the show. Elizabeth Windsor Craig. Yeah, Elizabeth Windsor Craig. She said that she's the illegitimate sister of the Queen or the cousin of the Queen. Philip. Maybe she's Philip's daughter. I forget her story now. But anyway, she's over in northwest United States up there. So she said she's the modern incarnation of Erishkigal. So we find a lot of people that are having memories of the gods and goddesses. And so I've been looking at that phenomenon for a long time. It really reincarnation. But people have memories. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is time.
Well, some people say that was Isis or Venus or Aphrodite or Ishtar. But France was the one that's supposedly given us the statue, right? Is that correct?
Isis, and Isis is not the same body as Aphrodite or Ishtar. She is an emanation of Mother Mary, Isis.
Right. Well, there's an interpretation that Isis is Mary is Nimla, and that the wedding in Canaan was finally she and Enki. They were forbidden to marry. They had fallen in love. They were forbidden to marry by Father Anu, and she was. I have this guy Glenn Bogue. He's doing research on that. She was blackened, which meant that she was forbidden to wed ever, because she had had a child out of wedlock with Yahweh Enlil, and she was betrothed to Enki, but then they broke her betrothal with Enki because in order to for Anu to stay close to the kingship of Nibiru, he had to marry his eldest son, Enki, off to Dinti, what was her name? Damkina, who was from the other, she was the daughter of the other king, right? So that was their alliance. That was a political wedding. So then Nema was heartbroken, so she ended up having a child with Enlil. And so anyway, if you look at the different symbols that they have, like if you go through the Egyptian period, you look there, they have these things on their head, they have things on their feet, they have wings. That's what you do. You should compare all this stuff, and you kind of get a picture of who are these people.
Well,
but
she was wrapped in a Greek toga. She was wrapped in a Greek toga, but a lot of people in paganism say that she's the goddess of liberty, and others say she's a Roman goddess. it just depends on. Well, just look it up, folks. It's all out there. We got Gnostic warriors and pagan goddesses and Libertas, the Roman goddess imported to America. So there's all kind of ways to think. But the point is, we have a beautiful symbol there. We're supposed to recognize freedom, right? Statue of Liberty.
And it's a woman. And
it's a woman.
I mean, what could be better?
So whatever belief system. The point
is
we all have
any statues like that in Canada. We need
some.
Oh, you don't have any statues like that?
Yeah. Well, we've gone all over the place. Let's see what I said tonight. I said, who are we? And what are we going to talk about? Who are we and why are we here? Let's get into we got into a lot of the background, but why are we here, folks? Talking, why are we here? What are we doing here? And some people think that it's just a coincidence, and others believe we're acting and reacting. Life is a stage, and we're merely the players on it. And let's see what Agnes and Janet think for sharing Ascension Age. I believe we came into 12/21/12, a lot of us that were metaphysicians, believing that the world was going to be different after 12/21/12, and we'd all begin thinking more consciously and awake and aware that the Ascension Age was upon us. So something unexpected happens when we compare our lives to each other. But Agnes is known for saying, who are we? Where did we come from? Where are we going? And what are the possibilities? These are many insights that glean the new series of metaphysical classes for positive thinkers with IsisMoonPublishing.com, and she's in Canada. And Agnes, Janet asked you earlier, how do you say Toews or Toews or Agnes Toews-Andrews? Is that your maiden name, and how do you say it properly? And we'll go on into who are we and where we come from and where are we going, because everybody has their own ideas. But is your name Toews or Toes? Could you say it for us?
It's actually pronounced Taves.
Wow.
Wow. Agnes Toews-Andrews. And Agnes Toews is my maiden name.
Okay. So Andrews is your husband.
Yes. Yeah. And that's my national best-selling author name. So that's the name I use most often. And the Toews, it was pronounced Toews in German, and when our ancestors came to Canada, of course, they didn't have those two little dots called the umlaut, which you put on top of an O, which give you the oi, so Toews.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it got the T-O-E, it got the E in there, so a lot of people pronounce it Toes, so Taves or Toes, whatever.
I got it. Okay. And you've got
That's
books
cute.
out there. You may want to mention your books, the type that you've written. And we'll go on to the next level of getting down deep into where did we come from, where are we going, and why are we here. So a couple of your books, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to. Thank you. One of the two of the latest books that I've written are called Awake, a Spiritual Primer, and it encompasses 10 years of my paranormal experiences in Canada and around the world. And I write about my twin flame experience in that book. I write about a lot of the UFO experiences that I've had, ET connections in that book. I also talk about 13 dimensions in that book and nature spirits. I've been in contact with nature spirits for many years. I do co-creative work called conings with nature level. I do ghost busting. I've written about that in that book, and about some of my past lives and incarnations and how I healed them through the CCMBA, which is known as the Complete Conscious Mind-Body Alignment Technique. And if anyone out there listening wants to release their karma and release all that stuff that from childhood or birth process, the CCMBA is a very powerful process for doing that. Excuse me. I also have observed many crop circles during my life. The first one in 1993. I talk about that in the book Awake. And I talk about the photon band in the Age of Light and Ascension in that book. And most recently, I republished a book that came out in 2010, and that book is called The Goddess Lives, Poetry, Prose, and Prayers in Her Honor. And I'll just grab a book here. I write about the ancient 13 spirit grandmothers of time in this book, and about the 13 spirit grandfathers of time and their shields and what they mean. I've been in touch with the Kachina shield, and that's the 10th shield of the spirit grandfathers. I talk about British Columbia's center of the universe in this book, where I always hear singing or hear the Om come beaming over the land. It's a very special place. I write about my experiences at the December 22nd, 2012 galactic alignment. The alignment was actually at 2:40 Eastern Standard Time on that day, and I was in meditation aware. I write about my experiences of that. And I write about ancient goddess cultures in ancient Lemuria, which I've had a past collection of. I write about spiritual path practices that humans can follow and inspiration to do so, and about goddess appearances like Sophia, Isis, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Gaia, and Breed, which are some of them that have appeared to me. And talk about discoveries that I've made at sacred matrilineal sites around the world. So that is The Goddess Lives, and that came out in 2017. So those two books are my major paranormal metaphysical discovery exploration books.
Are they available on Amazon?
Awake is available on Amazon, but The Goddess Lives is available only through my website, which is...
I have your website on isismoonpublishing.com.
That's right.
Is that your website?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it is.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so if you want to get those books, I won't bother getting it off Amazon. They can get both those books through your website, right?
That would be lovely.
Okay, excellent.
IsisMoonPublishing.com. So that's
IsisMoonPublishing.com.
Right. So, folks, please write that down in case you like what we're talking about tonight, and maybe you need some clearing, or it's a beautiful website in Isis Moon Publishing. Agnes Toews-Andrews. Looks like
Caves. Like caves.
Agnes, like a taser. Agnes Toews-Andrews, metaphysical master, national best-selling author. And you want to talk a little bit about why you feel like so many people are awakening in the Ascension Age, and so many of us for 30 or 40 years felt like we were called. And a lot of people may be out there that were very far advanced. More so, kids are coming in with much more knowledge of the dimensions and knowing they're eternal or they're multidimensionals or immortal beings now. But back in the day, we were all magical and reading that we were going to be working during this time as time travelers. So many of us women now in our 60s and 70s that haven't passed are still here creating and working in the 13 dimensions and working with people that are being initiated into understanding higher levels of consciousness and what to do with it now. So we're considered baby boomers, and we're goddess lovers and living in the feminine array, if you will, and many of us are psychics and talk about the age of ascension, meaning how even Jesus Christ ascended, if you believe in that, or how we can actually transcend in various dimensions. Some of us may just fade away, and some of us may just ascend. You may just hear people that have totally left the earth. But let's let Agnes, would you like to speak to that for a few minutes? I'll mute, and the goddess lives, but creation, 13 dimensions, we've talked a little about that. But what do you think in today's time about the Ascension Age? And Janet, chime in if you want to about our future, where we're going with this. So you think we're going to dissolve?
Yeah,
it sounds so exciting. It's really excites me to hear you talk about it, Theresa. And I started teaching Ascension workshops in, I think it was 2002, and I presented a workshop